Good afternoon, guys, and hope you guys are joining us at any given time, and I hope that you guys are just look. One sec. The idea for the stream is basically simple. What we want to do is just kind of get you interested in Adobe itself. So what we're gonna do is just basically do some sketching designs, just some of my old drawings and templates, and basically see what I can do with them. So what we're gonna do is basically hope you guys can learn something from this. I know we're using Adobe CS5.5 here, but if you have Adobe CC, you can use these same tips and just work with that. Or if you are starting off with a lower program, moving on to this one, or so on, it'd be great for you to learn. So the idea would be basically learn to use the software and everything. So a normal printout, as you can see, is 11 inches by 8.5. You can decide which way you want to do this, but I prefer this way. Now, we're gonna try and work in some of these designs, so we're gonna go in here and see what we got. These are some of my old sketches, and I'm just gonna pick one and work with it. These are some other projects that were already done and completed, or somewhat completed. I'm gonna work on those just now. So, you gotta decide what to pick. The way my teacher always told me how to do this. Oh my god, it's so big. First things first, gotta rotate that image. Not exactly what I wanted. Almost. Let's try and get this right. Whatever. We'll just do this the old-fashioned way. Done. I don't know where you guys are coming in from, but if you're new to this or watching this and you recognize this character, I'm a big Doctor Who fan, so this is actually a Doctor Who character. The character's named The Silence. Once you stop looking at it, the idea of image or anything like that of him disappears from your head. You don't know what's going on, but once you see him again, you remember him. So it's kind of freaky. So we got our object, we got it centered wherever we want it. Now we want to lock it so we don't have to move it around so much, making it so that we can't click on it, we can't move it. A teacher used to always say basically start from the furthest thing from your eye and move forward. So in this case, I guess it would be the jacket or whatever he's wearing. It doesn't matter where you start. Start putting points down. You can use this right here and then anchor it down so that it doesn't give it all a wobbly image. Because if you do this and you leave this without anchoring it, this is what you get. And it doesn't look clean. Just click Control Z to go back one. And get rid of that top end so we can see only the black line. What we're going to do is just adjust it a little bit. That's the furthest thing from us, right? So we're just going to leave that. That's going to be the first layer. We can rotate the color so that will be black. We can change the color later on. I guess the next best thing would be the neck. One second, guys. Let's see what we got here. Okay, let's see. Now we have a couple friends here in Austin that basically already know how to use this. They either done it either in high school or basically at our community colleges and so on. Learning Adobe is such a big thing, you can learn and just have fun with, because you can create just about anything you want. This one's kind of hard to figure out if he even has a neck, so we're not even going to do that. We're just going to go from the points. That doesn't seem right. Gotta zoom in a little bit more. If you're using Windows, the idea is just use Alt and then just zoom in with the mouse. Once you have that, you kind of want to give it those curves and angles. Just get it as close as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect right now. You can always come in and move those anchor points to make it look better. Looks like it goes all the way about here. Just bring it, follow the curved line. Seems right, but just doesn't seem completely right. Right. The way that we did this back in high school was basically the teacher would assign us an item, and back then we were running Adobe CS3, and the project item that we were given, I shit you not, was Bugs Bunny. And Bugs Bunny was just like, oh, cool, we get to work with a character that we all know already. And this was just a sketch I did, so of the silence, so it's not the best, but it's something to work with. Now, what you could do also, if you want to just work with a image of yourself, is bring in a photo of yourself and basically you can vectorize it so you can work with, and then you just work from there. So you could turn yourself into a character, whatever you want to do with it, basically. Now, for the parts where I don't have something, that's always been like a thing you kind of just work with, try to figure out what you want to do with it. So kind of just have to go in with a little detail you can think of. I'm trying to adjust it because I can't really remember how this character looked. It's been a while. So and then you gotta come in. Oof, that's a big edge to work with. So I think we're just gonna do it right here. Oh shoot. about there seems right. Yeah. Trust me, this gets much more complicated than expected when you're not zoomed out. That doesn't seem right. But we can always come in and adjust it or add more points. So I think that's what we're going to do right now. And just like that, we have the head so far. And that's going to be a gray color for now. We can add different styles and everything on here later on. So we got the face, we got that. Now that I'm looking at this, I think this part probably was the furthest thing before the face. But we could probably do that later. It's actually probably going to be this shirt. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. We don't have to make this beautiful since it's just going to be hidden in back. This is just going to be white, so we don't have to even worry about making it. That's just going to be white. The bow tie is going to cover it anyway, and then this part is going to cover it anyway. And then the face is going to cover that little part. So, and what we can do just to make that a little bit easier is, once we have it here, if I remember right, it's Control, Shift, and then, honestly I don't remember what these things are called, but it'll send it back, let go of Shift, bring it forward one, and since the furthest thing is technically the shirt, we're going to have to do that one more time so it doesn't get overlaid so quickly. So it goes 1, 2, 3 for now. The bow tie is going to have to be another thing. Once the bow tie is made, we'll have to go back and make that number 3 instead of the head. And then number 4 will probably have to be this collar. Which actually we can do that right now. Make it pretty quickly. We just start from here to about here. Curve it out a little bit right there. Bring it right there. Since the head's going to cover it, we don't have to worry about this so much. Bring that right about there. Right about there. Anchor it. Let's bring it back up this way. Try and get it close as we can. There. Little curve right about there. And then finally bring it back in. Attach it. Now we'll send that all the way to the back. Then bring it in forward. 1, 2. So now it's going to be in front of this one. So let's take a look at how this is coming out so far. Let's make this, what color should we make this? Let's just pick a maroon color for right now. We got that. And we got this. It's going to be white for now. The color is gonna be, let's go ahead and do, what's a good color that goes with maroon or reddish? We'll go with an orange for now. Then we got the head. Since it's gonna be kind of like an alien, we want to keep it it's like a grayish. This is still not at the very end, so we have to bring it forward more. There we go. So now we have this. Doesn't look like much, but it's a start. Now if I remove the outside black layer and then swap it back out, we have the colors, making it easier to come back to later. And these don't have to be the colors that we stay with. We can always change them, make it something simple, something you'd be okay with. There's a simple way and then there's a hard way of doing all this extra lines. You do it, the easy way to me is actually just doing it one by one, which would take a while. The other way is basically using the Adobe Mesh tool, which is adding in the shades and going piece by piece. It would look nicer, yes. It would take a good amount of time. Honestly, almost the same amount of time as it would take to basically just do this one by one, to me at least. I'm not saying there's people out there that are insanely good at this, they would figure this out pretty quickly. But we're going to save this and open one that I already worked with beforehand. And these can be opened on any Adobe software afterwards, so it can still be used on Adobe CS6, CC, and basically go with that. Welcome, Danny and Kenny. Let's see, what do I have here that we can probably work with? There's probably one that I haven't seen in a while. Wonder if I ever got pretty close to finishing this one. Let's see. I think I pretty much did. I came pretty close to finishing this one up. See where we're at. I think what I was going to do in this is later on add all the shading. It's probably why I haven't really finished it. I feel like I have a version of this where I did do that already, but I just forgot to save it. If anything, it's probably on a different flash drive. But you can see all the different layers and everything. How many things you had to kind of go through. Yeah, this was from a smaller sketchbook I had back in 2009, 2010, somewhere around there. It's around this time of year, actually, in December. It's when I lost it. So the good thing is I took a photo of my sketch before I ended up losing that sketchbook, and just kind of been working with it. We also have, no, I don't want it open. This is one of my oldest ones, probably. One I actually did during my my junior and senior year, and I just redid it and added some shading using the mesh tool. And this is what the mesh tool basically is. You can add the shadowing and adjust it as you go. Did the same thing over here with the eyes. If you have time and you want to play around with it, it's a great tool to learn. You see the shadows right here? It's just the little details. And you can see my sketch right next to it. Funny story is that I was in this program here in Austin called the Young Artists at the Jones Center, which I think the Jones Center is now called something else. It used to be called the Art House. I'm not sure what it's called now. It's downtown on 7th Street and Congress. If you ever go there, if you're still in high school, what you could do is ask your teachers, your art teacher, or someone to recommend you for this program. I don't know if the program's still going on, but if it is, you'll be supplied with sketchbooks, some supplies, and it really helps inspiring students that want to be artists. Just kind of go out there and see different versions of arts. It could be tagging the walls, the arts that you see on buildings, to different paintings and designs and other stuff. And you'll get to learn a lot of stuff. I always kind of pushed for learning Adobe during that time, but it was fine that we didn't because I actually got to see a lot of different types of art around Austin, and there's still even more things you can learn. If anything, I had fun doing this sketch back when I was in that program because what I actually saw compared to what I sketched was completely different. This whole skull in a hoodie thing was not what I originally saw. Well, it's what I saw in my mind, but not what I saw in person. What I saw was this giant ass stuffed animal fish eating a skull, and I don't know how I got this out of that. Regardless, it was one of my favorite pieces to sketch. See if any of you are into anime. This one's pretty easy, even from the title, Kenpachi. Let's see if I can just not to go piece by piece, but you should be able to see all the work I went into this. Oops. Let's see, anything else I'm missing? The hair. You can see all the detail I went into doing this one. Some of these I just do on a whim board, so I work on, and then I forget to come back and finish them, which is something I'm assuming a lot of artists do, or anybody that sketches. They forget to come back and finish their work. Others obviously finish it on the go. Sketching, fun. I did it pretty quickly, but doing it on the computer, I forget to come back and finish it. But as you saw, this is where I ended up at, and you can see the difference. But the thing is, back then I was not good at shading. It was thanks to that class or that program that actually helped me. And I gotta say, I thank my English slash art teacher slash special ed teacher back in at Lanier High School, now called the Navarro High School. I don't know what they're calling it. I think it's whatever. I gotta thank Miss Isa Bunto for pushing me into manga, and then also introducing me into more of just sketching more. She's the one that kept me going on this kind of stuff and reading. It's the only reason. I'm pretty sure that she's not the only reason, but she is one of the bigger reasons for why I even graduated. So if Miss Bunta, if you ever see this video, I want to say thank you. You were a great inspiration. You were one of my better teachers to help me out. I'm glad I had you as a teacher. I uh, I don't know if I ever caused you troubles during high school, but if I did, I am so sorry. But yeah, it's thanks to all that and being brought into that program, thanks to Ms. Bunto, that I even got to do all this kind of stuff into shading. Because back then I would have not cared so much about shading. Let's see, am I missing any of them? Hmm. This one I did while I was studying in Mexico for a little bit, but I never really came back, and I think I did part of this on a different save file, but I never finished doing it. But the character, Kamina from Gurren Lagann, first try, I think I could have done a little better, especially around the eyes and jawline. But I think it came out pretty good for first try back then. There are some original designs that I did back from high school and even afterwards, and then some of my friends that I drew or sketched, I guess. This took me about an hour, and my friend was polite enough to actually sit there as I basically sketched him, and yeah, I made him a demon. But that was fun. I don't know. I think I was obsessed with clowns and cats back then. So aside from uh, Illustrator, Photoshop is also a great thing to learn. Oh yeah, I closed that. Let's see what I have here that I can work with. This is a project from a few years ago for a Photoshop class, and the idea was to basically just make a movie poster or something. I don't remember, but the images that we were given, if I remember right, let me see, should be right here. The materials. Let me remove all this extra stuff. So, if we look at the materials, what we got here, we were given alright. The only thing I think I kept was the Rick portal for sure. Flowers and work tools. Alright, let's see. Off the bat, we were given a picture of a toolbox. I don't know. Let's see. What am I clicking on right now? Stapler. I'll take the stapler from the tools. Poppies? Which ones are the poppies? Poppies. The blue bonnets. Kept a couple of the petals to use. And you can see where I added these things into the original design and for their color. So these were the one, two, three, four, five, 6 items that I had to incorporate into the image. Now let's see. The only thing I brought in was, of course, the Rick and Morty portals that you saw from online. And here's the original pictures that I had to kind of cut out what I just needed. So with that being said, let's see. Now we go into all this, and this is for just the body and skin. So the body and skin was all that orange flour. You can see all the different layers I had to put in. Left hand, upper left arm, all these different layers overlaying each other. This was not fun. I'll tell you that right now. Then you had the metallic parts from the stapler and adding the shadows. See how many layers was that? Not as many as the body, because it was just one arm, thank God, and the chest plates. And I had to add the effects for the shadowing, to drop shadow. Same thing for the skull. And if you want to look closely into the eyes, it uses the blue bonnets or whatever those were. I can't remember. And then adding the drop different shadow layer over the horns and the arms and on this horn. Adding the teeth and the nails, so we have our toes and everything. And then the hair was from the flowers. Oh, can't forget the wings. We needed the wings. So they scoot back some. So we got all that. That was my first outcome. Now I had to make it into a poster. And the type layers. I went through a couple different ones, debating what I wanted to write. I still think this one's my favorite one, so I'm going to keep that one. Then I had to add the background. Just expanding the background and then using the clone stamp tool to basically make that part a little bit longer, just because it really needed it to fit. The contact sheet. That was the other thing that we had to do. We had to basically bring in where we got the stuff from and all that. That was not fun. What else am I missing? Alright. Then I had to make copies of what I originally did and bring them in and, adding them. So after having all that in, then I had to make the shadows for each one. That was a little bit fun, just because it was simple. But this was the final outcome. Let's see what else we got here. I don't even remember what I was doing on this one. What was I doing on this one? Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Yeah, so this was me learning how to do what? The mask, the vector mask. So you can remove everything in the background that I did not want and just keep this. This is actually something fun to learn with. We were using it on an instrument prior to this. But this is also one of my sketches, and this one actually came, well, my sketches, but I actually sketched it off one of the mangas from Death Note. Again, thank you, Miss Bunta. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff that if you're taking, I'm not sure what it's called anymore in the high schools, but if you're taking BIM, graphic design, graphic artists, or I guess graphic arts, any of this, if any of this can help you, that'd be great to advance in your class and probably move forward to you can do a couple things that you want to do during class, finish up your classwork, and basically come in and do whatever you want. Once you could do a lot of this basic stuff, it would be useful to you so you can move on and not only learn Illustrator and Photoshop, but also learn InDesign, Dreamweaver. You can learn how to use basically Premiere Pro, edit your videos, and so on. Which right now we will not do on this, but thank you guys for watching, and I hope that this is like in a way good for you guys to learn a little bit more about this. And like I said, this is Adobe CS5.5, but if you're running CC, anything you see here you can pretty much do on those also, and then some. especially because you have a lot more add-ons, a lot of different things they included in every update. Yes, CS5.5. If you have a full installation of that, you don't have to pay anything before CC. So CS3, CS4, CS5, CS5.5, and CS6. If you have any of that, it would be great for you to have, just because you don't have to pay for the monthly subscription on Adobe CC. Finding these would be a little bit harder, but it's actually worth it, just so that you can basically continue working on whatever you want without having to worry about that monthly subscription. And then if you still have Adobe CC or you want to work on Adobe CC, that's fine. It's just that this honestly saves me a lot of money, so I don't mind working on an older software and then coming back and using Adobe CC to do my touch-ups. But I hope you guys learned a little something here, or if you want to see anything else, something like this, just let me know in the comments, and I will basically try and find something else I can show you guys, and maybe we can even learn some few things together.